Class 12th students, good morning. Okay, already we have seen two chapters in the Indian economic development. The first chapter is what is that? Indian economy before independence. Second chapter is Indian economy from 1950 to 1990. Now we are going to learn the third chapter. That means Indian economy from 1990 onwards. 1990 onwards. We can take it from 1991. So what was the importance of that year 1991? Because the central government, they initiated the LPG scheme. This is called as the new economic policy. New economic policy of 1991. So what is the expansion of LPG? Liberalization, privatization and globalization. This was introduced in India in the year of 1991 by the central government. So what was the reason for the transition towards the LPG scheme? What was happened in India? Some reasons are there. Very important question. What was the reasons for the initiating the LPG scheme, otherwise the new economic policy? The first reason, first of all, we will say this thing as the financial crisis. This was in India, 1991, in the year of 1990, end of 1990, we were there in a financial crisis. Why this was happened? What is called as a crisis? That is a problem or the difficulties for a country. That is, we had the problem in the finance of our country. In the financial matters, we had some sort of the difficulties. Why this was happened? The first reason they are all saying, because of the Gulf crisis. So what was happened? Iran and Iraq war was there. So the oil prices immediately it went up. That's the first reason they are saying. The second one, the government expenditure of our country greater than the government revenue. Revenue means income of a government. So this thing we already learnt in the Indian budget chapter. So if the government expenditure greater than the government revenue, this creates the, which or no, the budget deficit. How we have to meet out, already we studied. How we have to meet out that deficit with the help of the borrowings or deficit financing. That means printing of the new currencies. Otherwise, borrowing internally, externally, some sort of the things we will do it. Main thing, the help of the borrowings only, we can meet out the budget deficit. Next, if you take the BOP condition. So, in the BOP, what we learnt? So, exports as well as the imports. In those time, what was happened in 1990? So, the export, compared to the exports, the imports, it was more. The imports rate were more compared to the exports. Okay. So this creates deficit. That is deficit in the BOP. How we have to manage? How we have to manage? Because if we increase the exports, that time only we can manage the situation. Because balance of payment is always in a balanced condition. That way we've learnt. The third one is the fall in the foreign exchange reserves. Fall in the foreign exchange reserves. Usually, who will keep the foreign exchange? So, in the hands of the RBI. It is one of the major functions of the RBI. That means custodian of the foreign exchange. Why they have to keep? In order to manage the difficulties in the BOP, otherwise in order to manage the that is if the import rate will be more, in order to manage that situation, otherwise paying off our debts also, repayment of the debts and the payment of the interest, we should keep foreign exchange reserves. So in RBI, even they did not keep it for not even for a fortnight, they kept the foreign exchange reserves with the foreign exchange in the Reserve Bank of India. The next one is the public sector undertaking, 286 public sector undertakings they were there. So most of the public sector undertakings, they incurred loss those time because of the inefficient management. Next reason they are saying, continued spending on the development programs of the government did not generate additional revenue. Only the spending was there in the developmental programs of the government, but did not give any additional revenue to the government. We did not get any income from that one. This is one of the reasons for the financial crisis. Next one, they are saying the government was not able to generate sufficient funds from the internal sources such as taxation, because they did not get much of the income through the taxation. So it creates financial crisis in our country. Next, the foreign exchange borrowed from other countries, already we learnt. So foreign exchange we borrowed from the other countries as well as the International Monetary Fund as well as the World Bank. So the government, what they have done, they spent only on meeting the consumption needs and to make the repayment on the other loans. If you are using for that purpose, we cannot create anything else in our country. So these are all the reasons for the financial crisis in those times. That's why we have to shift ourselves from the that is import substituted products to the imported product. That means we have to give very big way for the imported products in order to increase the production in our country. Okay, which government started the LPG scheme? The Congress government, because of the assassination of the Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the ex-Prime Minister. So in the same party, that is from the Nandyal constituency, Mr. Narasimha Rao, he became the Prime Minister. At the same time, who was our finance minister those time? Dr. Manmohan Singh. So they combined their hands together for the LPG scheme in India. They started. Before that, we had the strict rules for the imported item. But after that is LPG scheme was initiated in our country, we gave a very big way for the MNCs to land in our country. Why this was happened? Because in order to manage the financial crisis, we applied $7 billion from the World Bank. So the World Bank put the condition, if you want this much of the amount loan from ourselves, so you have to give very big way for the MNCs in our country. So that's why we started the LPG. So liberalization, privatization and globalization. So what is liberalization? Freedom from the